Hey everybody! Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight I kind of decided to do an impromptu Facebook Live. I decided literally to do it on the way home from the grocery store. That's where my mind was. So I hope some people get to join us tonight because I know there wasn't a ton of notice, so I'm sorry. If I start doing Facebook Lives, this will probably be the time that I do them. I know that it's very late and I apologize, but I've just got to make sure I get my own kids in bed and asleep, and they are, so yay! Very happy about that. A couple things that you might need to know. I will be giving away a $25 TPT gift card. All you have to do to enter to win the gift card is to comment below. It could be hi, hello, it could be a question, it could be something to add to the conversation, it could be your own tips for the best school year ever, anything you want to include or would like to say, and then tomorrow I will randomly choose a winner tomorrow, and I think I said 8 p.m. Eastern time if I remember correctly, and I'll just randomly announce it on the bottom in the comments of this video. So make sure you comment so that you also have a chance to win that $25 gift card. I thought it'd be a nice way to kick off the back to school season since we are talking about it in this video. So let's talk about 5 simple things to have the best school year ever. What can you do to make sure it's an easy year? The first thing you need to do is prioritize. I am a huge believer in teaching students how you want things done. That's why I'm always so tired in the beginning of the school year, is because they don't know how I like it to be done, and I like things done a certain way because it keeps our classroom running smoothly, it creates a community, and it creates expectations for the students, and also for me. They know exactly what I'm going to do each time, so it makes things be smoother and easier. So on that very first day of school, I want you to think about, if you're in a PD, so you're in a professional development, and the most important things you want to know when you're in an unfamiliar place in a class. You want to know when is lunch break, if you're going to eat any snacks, and where is the bathroom, and when you're going to be done. Right? That's what I always wanted to know, is when is lunch, where's the bathroom, when we're done. So I would say when you are thinking about what procedures you're going to teach your students first thing, that you really think about what basic needs need to be met. Let them know we're going to have snack time at this time. You know, if you do snack, lunchtime is at this time, and the bathroom is here. You might also want to consider like procedures for getting like a tissue or things like that. So maybe just meeting basic needs. And if you look in the description box above, it says grab the procedures freebie here. I have a 2-page list of, it's a freebie of all the procedures that I taught in my classroom. And the first 2 pages are just a random list. The next 2 pages are the order I taught them in, and I prioritized by what I felt kids had to know first. So that is something that I want you to keep in mind. What do they need to know? And when you're thinking about procedures, here's the picture of it in my store. You'll see here's just on the right side, it's just the random list of all of them, but I didn't take a screenshot of what it looked like when I prioritized. But things like bathroom, when is lunch, and when is snack are some of the first ones. Let's see. Number 2, it is important to model and practice everything, because if you want them to do something, don't expect it. Don't expect that they know when they get a tissue that they can only get it, like for example, kids could get tissues at any time I wasn't teaching and they weren't in small groups. So when they were not getting direct instruction, they were welcome to get up and get a tissue or go to the water fountain, which was located in our room. I didn't mind, as long as they weren't receiving instruction. That was my rules. But you know, you might want to make sure that they know that the tissues, you may not want them to go in the trash can by your desk to keep you from not getting, you know, to keep you healthier. So may need to go by, you know, there's a special trash can you want them to go in, maybe by the front door so that the janitor can get it out easier. So you need to make sure that you model. Think about when you're talking about modeling expectations, don't just think about like things like getting tissues and putting your header on your paper, those kind of things. Think about modeling and talking about expectations for the lunchroom, bathroom, and playground. And I'm going to show you guys this right here. These were 2 charts that I created when I was teaching 2nd grade. The first day of school, one of the first procedures we went over was how to get the teacher's attention, and also how to go to the bathroom and how to walk in the hall. And so we I greeted them in the morning. They came in. They had morning work at their desk, so we established already they would have something to do every morning. And I just did, for my morning work, I made a crossword off a puzzle maker out of their names on one side, and then I made a coloring sheet on the back side, so that was something everybody could be successful and they would have choice already. And then after that, we would move into a whole group. I'd explain to them how I wanted them to move to the carpet and how to find a place. We'd sit down. I'd introduce myself. And usually I would introduce myself with like a book like My Teacher's Secret Life or First Day Jitters, and I'd do a me bag. And if you want some first day activities that I used to do, I'm happy to do a video on that. Just make sure to comment below and let me know. And then that was already a lot of sitting. So they had already, you know, they're not used to sitting for very long. So that's a long period. So we talk about what does it look like and sound like when they're in the bathroom. And I don't mean like yucky, like what does it sound like to go to the bathroom, but more like when you're in the bathroom, it looks like you're not peeking in the stalls, you're not crawling around, you put your soap on your hands and you don't rub them on the walls. So we were very explicit, and it sounds like there's no talking, it's quiet, there's fussing, they're shutting, the doors are shutting, that kind of thing. And we also talked about expectations in the hall. They have walking feet, they stay in a straight line. And these were all student-generated answers that may need some prompting. And we talked about how it's quiet in the line. So we talked about procedures, and then we went and practiced them. So right after I did all that, we walked in the hall, and we practiced what we talked about, and then we went to the bathroom. And so one of the first things that we had done already was to go to the bathroom. And so they didn't, you know, I tried to do that by 9:30 at the latest, because some of them aren't used to the school schedule already. Another thing that we modeled and talked about explicitly was, what does a good listener look like? And this is a part of my Back to School Buddies. It is a pack on explicit listening and speaking skills, and that is what I did pretty much my mini lessons for the first week and a half of school. And we talked about what does a good listener sound like and look like. I had a student in 3rd grade, and he was as sweet as he could be. Still remember it vividly, even though it's several years ago now. We talked about, you know, what a good listener does. They sit crisscross applesauce. They look at the speaker. Their mouths are closed. Their hands are still. Their hands are in their lap. Their ears are listening. We went through the list. And so I was standing next to him, and I was giving directions. And as soon as I finished giving directions, his hand was raised. And he said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, were you listening to what I said?" And he said, "Yes." And he went through the checklist. He was like, my mouth was closed, my hands are in my list, you know, my lap. And he just went, bah, bah, bah. And he knew it. He knew exactly. And I said, "Well, did you think about what I was talking about?" And he looked at me and he said, "I have to think about what you're saying. Like, that's another thing on the list I have to do." And so I realized at that point, we really need to explicitly teach not just what listening looks like, but what it actually the body does. So that was an eye-opener. So that was when I developed these listening and speaking skills, and how to carry on conversations and speak to your peers appropriately and continue conversations and add on to what your partner is saying, and how to disagree appropriately. So those are all things that we modeled that first week of school. And this poster of what a good listener sounds like, looks like, stayed up all year long. So one other thing that I want you to think about, and this is something that's kind of against the norm. I know a lot of teachers like to go ahead and tackle that beast of the school supplies, because I've always worked in a Title I school, or a school that was in the process of becoming Title I. And even so, we were very lucky that parents still sent in a lot of supplies. So we were very, very grateful for that. But it was just a lot of stuff for these little kids to carry in. And just organizing it is just a bear, just to get everybody their names on everything, put it in the right place, you know, make sure they, you know, what folder goes to what subject area. All that is just, it's a hot mess. I don't know. It's always a hot mess, and I hate it. It's like one of my least favorite activities for back to school. I can't stand going through supplies. So I would like you to think about, what is the most important things you want your child, or if it was your child, but your students, to leave school that first day going home to their mom and dad? Do you want them, or their guardian, do you want them to say, "I got all my stuff put away"? Or do you want them to say, "I like my teacher and she likes me and I had a lot of fun today"? So think about, if you're using that time, that first day, which is so precious, and you don't ever get a second start. So this is your first one. It's the only one you get with them. Do you want to spend it putting away supplies, or would you rather to use it to establish routines and community? And I always went with community and routines. So what I did is I went to Publix or Kroger, and I asked for one large brown paper bag per child in my classroom. And so when they came in the first day, I told them, as they came in the door, I said, we will we will be going through school supplies later. We're not going to do it right now. So if you will take all your things and put them in the brown bag, there's a brown bag under your desk if you'll put them in there. And so the kids would go ahead and just basically all the crayons, all the pencils, all their stuff would go into that brown bag, and it would stay under their desk. And I had some of the larger supplies like Clorox wipes and Kleenex and copier paper, all things at that time that were on the supply list. I would have labeled boxes around the room, and I would either come and take it from them and take it to the box, or ask them to go take it to the box, depending on the child and how ready they were to do that. Maybe if they're shy or need support, that kind of thing. So the supplies went into there, which meant that I already had pencils on the table and crayons on the tables. And because I did community supplies, I made sure everybody had sharpened pencil on their desk that first day. Normally they would go in the pencil but in a crayon bucket on the table groups, but for the first day they had one on each desk, and I had crayons in a bucket for the group to use. So they didn't even need their supplies. The entire first day I planned ahead and made sure we didn't need any of their supplies. So when they would say, do I need to get out of my bag? No, we're not going to work with supplies today. We're going to come back to it. And then we would go through supplies on the second or third day, just depending on when we had time. So I know it's kind of unusual not to be digging through all that big old book bag of stuff and the supplies, but I just didn't want to use that precious time wasted on sorting things. And I also, when I went through materials with kids on that second or third, sometimes even fourth day, when I finally got to it, I was extraordinarily explicit with it. We took out one supply at a time, and I had one child, and usually it was the child I had already anticipated would struggle with it or be a behavior issue during that time period, because it was a little bit chaotic and looser than usual because everybody's doing something and pulling out supplies and needs help. So that child would be my example child. I'd spin their desk. The desk would go to the front of the room. Or when I did community supplies, we had drawers. So they would be my model, and I would talk that child through it, and that child would show the rest of the class as I orally talk, Bobby's going to take out his red folder. Great, Bobby. Yep, he's got his red folder. Now I want you to take out your red folder. While Bobby's writing his name on his folder, I want you to write your name on your folder. Bobby's going to put his, so I would orally walk him through it. So automatically the child that would most struggle would be successful because they became the model or the example. So that is how I eventually did supplies. One of the things that is most important, and I usually did this as the kids had kind of gotten settled at their seats, everybody had kind of came in. It was like right after the bell had rang or right before the bell had rang, depending on how early kids were and buses were running. And so everybody was working on the crossword on the coloring sheet. The first thing I did is made sure I knew exactly how every child went home. So double check to make sure you know exactly how your kids are going home. You need to make sure, if you need to, check your paperwork, have a checklist. If you don't know, you need to call the parents or have the office call the parents. This is something that you need to know by, I would say, within an hour of the school day starting, so that you have all day to work out before dismissal ever starts with how that child will be getting home. And I say that is something you do at all grade levels, even your fifth graders. You just need to make sure that you know how kids will be getting home so they get home safely and that there's an adult there if they need to, if they're at the age where they need to be watched still. And the school I last worked at, that they literally had a counselor or an administrator walked around to every classroom on the first day of school and said, do you know how everybody's going home? And would check, which was wonderful. They really, really supported that. And if you didn't, they would go find out for you. So it was a wonderful situation. Tip number 5, which sounds terrible, lower your expectations, because sometimes we get all these big ideas. And so I had a wonderful principal I worked under, Kathy, and she had this great phrase that she always used in the first day of school, and it's a fantastic phrase. But she always said, get them there, get them fed, get them home, then it's a great first day. So the idea is that those are your 3 big things that you need to accomplish on the first day. Is you need to get them to school. You need to make sure they have lunch and everybody eats and is, fed. And you need to get them safely home, whether that is an after school program or if that is the bus stop. You need to, I literally had my entire class walk with me, and I would hand deliver each child or each group, if it was more than one children, the group of children to the bus driver that first couple days, because some of them in second grade still struggled on how to go home. So if you can do those 3 things, then you can say, it was a good first day. It may not be perfect. Somebody may have wet their pants. Somebody may have cried from mom and dad. It all happens. But you got them there. You got them fed. You got them home. Those are the big basic needs that are filled. And you want to make sure that it's a fun day that they enjoyed. And I don't mean fun as in games and parties and balloons, but it's just they had a teacher that they know was happy to see them and cared about them. I always worry about that adage. Don't smile until December. And I hate that phrase. I just think that sends such a wrong message to your kids, because you can still be firm and consistent and fair without frowning or being dour or, unapproachable or completely serious. You could still have a good time. And I think it's important that kids know that you can balance both, that you have expectations and you want things done a certain way, and that's how you want them done. And, it's for their safety or to help them become better readers, better, students in math, learners. They have to do what you have to say, but you're here to also enjoy each other's company and become a classroom community. You're, a family. You're stuck together for 180 days. You might as well enjoy it. Or at least we were 180 days. So this is a bonus tip. This is, make sure that you fill your bag of tricks, so that if I never actually ever accomplished my entire first day plans. We always ran short on time. That was just how we ran, and that was fine because I overplanned and I did that on purpose, and we worked on it throughout the week. It was almost a checklist for the week rather than lesson plans eventually, which made it easier. But you need to have, if something changes, you need to make sure that you have a plan for unexpected time, whether it be a read aloud, whether it be passing out index cards and kids writing their name and decorating them, and then you say, I'm going to go laminate these today after school, and then follow up and do it. And these can become bookmarks for your book boxes. That's a great on-the-spot activity where it doesn't take many materials to do that. Another one is you could play a game. You could do 4 corners where you're in the middle and you have your eyes closed and the kids tiptoe to a corner. As you count, and when you get to 20, you call out a labeled corner, and whoever's in that corner is out. And you could do that with, I've done it with punctuation marks. We've done it with periods, exclamation, and question marks. You could do it with how they go home. It could be, after school program. It could be the school bus. It could be walkers. So there's many different things you could do to label, or you could just number the corners 1, 2, 3, just to get them out of their seats. But make sure you have something to fill in the time if you come up empty. So basically all I'm saying is make sure you have procedures. Pick out the most important ones you think your kids need to know to be successful. Model, model, model. Give them time to practice. If you are having expectations about how kids line up for recess, then you need to go outside when it's not recess time and model. Say, you're going to go play, and when I blow this whistle 3 times, that's when you come to me and you're going to line up this way. They need time to practice it, and that is great for the first week of school anyway, because they need to be up and moving around because they're not used to sitting still. It could be going to the lunchroom and practicing where you sit, where you put your food away, where the trash can is, where do you wait for your teacher. They need to be up and moving and practicing these things, and that gives you a good excuse to have them out of their seats and being productive with that time. So let's talk about any questions. You may or may not have any questions, and that's fine. I know that because it's so late and there wasn't much notice, there may not be many people watching right now, and that is fine too. So you may be catching this on a replay, and if you are catching it on a replay, all you have to do is leave your questions below. It'll have number 1, it'll enter you in the $25 gift card for TPT, so yay! And number 2, I can come back and answer them at any time tomorrow or whenever you leave it. It'll come up. So thank you so much. Rachel said she loves the idea. Hey, Shannon. Shannon said great tips. Christina said a friendly approach sets the tone for the year. That's a great way to say it. You want to set the tone. And first day of success, get them to lunch and get them home safely. Joan, have you been teaching? Are you the one who said you've been teaching for 40 years? I can't remember if that was you or not. I know someone mentioned they've been teaching for a long time. But that is if you can get them there, get them fed, get them home, you've had a great first day. And that's the goal. Keep your expectations low and smile. And then, tomorrow's a new day. So if you have any other questions, I think that was it for now, and that is fine. I would love to hear from you. Make sure you comment below to enter for the TPT $25 gift card. I'll be announcing the winner tomorrow. I'll just put it at the bottom of this thread, or I guess it may come up at the top, and the winner, and I will send a PM to the winner's inbox. So I hope you have a wonderful first day of school. Here we are starting tomorrow. My daughter's first day back, her first day in first grade is tomorrow morning. So we will be bright and early and ready to go. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful back to school season. And if there's any other videos you want, I was thinking about maybe sharing books that you could read for back to school and activities that could be paired with it. I thought it might be a fun Facebook Live, or if I know I had some requests for doing word study and modeling how to do word study within guided reading, and then word study centers. So if you have any requests for Facebook Live videos, please just leave them below, and I will definitely not only just enter you in the gift card contest, but it gives me a list of things that you guys want to see, and I will make sure to get those filmed for you. So I hope you're having a blessed week, and I shall see you again next time.